Alright lads, we're back with another video in the channel. Especially this video is for A-League viewers who's watching in this video right now. Today I'm going to be going through my early A-League predictions to see which teams, to see who finishes on the ladder from both of each teams. Before we get straight to the video, make sure you guys subscribe if you are new to the channel and give this video a like, because it will be appreciated for me in this channel. We're going to continue this milestone as soon as possible so I can make the best video out of it possible. But why not, let's just get straight to the video and not waste your time. Alright, so we're starting off from Adelaide United. The Reds Army, they had a bit of a troubling season. They lost a couple of players in the few seasons throughout this next season, but I don't highly see the doubt of the things that Adelaide United has done. Carl Viet did have troubled times figuring it out on how they set up the players in their shapes right now. I don't see the change at all, despite having two superstars players, which is Hiroshi Ibuzuki and Ben O'Halloran, who's moving on to Brisbane Roar, and especially their highest fast star player, Nestor Ivankunda. It's a big loss for them, but it's good to see Ivankunda going to Germany to play for Bayern Munich. They hadn't been really great at this start of the season. They might not play finals consistently. So I think I'm gonna first start off Adelaide United finishing 9th in the ladder. And now we move on to the newest team in the A-League, which is Auckland FC, who have just now released their own debut team in the next season of A-League's Men Isuzu for 24-25. They're starting to get quite a few players, which it inspires for them a lot, especially, I don't know if we have that many of Auckland FCs watching here in this video right here, but it's good for them to see having a couple of good signings in this fixture. Newcomers might get a shaky start, but who knows the outcomes will result the difference. I might be biased with this as a Western Sydney Wanderers fan. Auckland FC might finish just slightly out of the bottom 4. So I'm going to stick with Auckland FC sticking 6th in the ladder. Just because they're going to start off with really have a great games. They might get a couple wins, and have some rounds that will be tricky for them to get accomplished with. I do see it happening. And now we got the Central Coast Mariners, the champions of A-League Australians, going back to back in the last season. They have an incredible momentum throughout the last season of rounds. Central Coast were a very, very strong team, and they're just really undeniable to see how their defense and their attackings have often execute their forms right now. They might not finish on the first despite losing like Danny Vukovic, Jacob Varel is leaving and departing into a new club. So I'm picking Central Coast Mariners to stick on 3rd in the place on the ladder. Next up we've got Macarthur FC. Now this is a bit of a tricky prediction to pick on where they're going to end up finishing up to. They went to the finals, they're up against Sydney FC, they weren't just ready for it. They didn't sign up for this side to be very, very good, and that's what happened when Macarthur finished it off their final season with 0-4, which is a bit of a disastrous performance from them. But I think Macarthur might end up finishing 7th on the ladder, just because they have newcomers, but I do feel like Luke Brandon will step up to the gameplay. Now we've got Melbourne City to be the next predicted on this A-League ladder prediction. They've almost end up finishing outside of the final spot, but they've managed to sneak up through and play up against their rival neighbors Vimar with victory. They didn't clinch it up with the next spot of the finals, but it's really heartbreaking to see what really happened. It was a great turnaround that Melbourne City will never forget, that cherished moment from that goal. This is a few outs and really, really concerning for Melbourne City. Big outs has been announced, and Jamie McLaren moving off to an Indian club, which I don't remember exactly which club did he moved on to. It's going to be hard for them if they are really the real dealers in this game. Melbourne City, they're going to finish up 8th place. I mean, you have to agree that Melbourne City are really a decent side. You can think of Marco Tilio, Matt Leckie, and any players that you can think of for Melbourne City is quite a few style of tricks that they can do. in the next rounds. Next up, we've got another Melbourne side, and that is Melbourne Victory. Incredible stuff from Victory. I think we've got Victory fans just watching right here. You guys gave an absolute phenomenal in this season, in the last season, but then until you gave, it was a heartbreak for you guys. And Melbourne Victory are another strong team that you cannot always deny on them when they're playing on their games. But I do feel like Melbourne Victory can get this one back again. They're gonna play finals. Their form has been strong lately. They're going to have a great year in this season. So I'm definitely confident that I'm going to be putting Melbourne Victory second on the ladder. Next up I've got to pick is Newcastle Jets. Now you can see the decent lineups. It's pretty something that you would love to see. If you go past in their games, they have like good players lineups. You can think of like Clayton Taylor, Apostolopoulos, if I pronounce that right. You can see Newcastle Jets are pretty decent side. On the other hand, they got quite few young players in the rankings, and they continue to develop something that they would wish and hoping to score a few goals in the season, but they won't be playing finals. So I think I'm going to pick Newcastle Jets 10th on the ladder. Next up, we've got Perth Glory, the team that is really I would want to see Perth Glory play finals, but the lack of effort, the lack of inconsistency, the efforts that they were busy on is the transferring. You can see players aren't really quality on like how they play. They've just been ongoing onto, but it's not really happening throughout what I'm seeing right now. Having great players from Europe and then having transferred signings to play for a loan contract, and that's the only good thing that Perth Glory has only ever had in this season. But I think they end up finishing on 11th position, which I will be choosing. Next up, we've got the famous Sydney FC in the predictions. They've been phenomenal over the past few years. Ufuk Taylor's side has been incredible. They were only one spot away from a grand final spot, but it ended up no goalless in the leg number 2. Having great players like last season, Max Burgess, Fabio Gomez. They've just been the strong players. Put a display and put an exclamation mark that you guys are actually the real deal is to play finals. Oh, this will be a really tough one, but I think I'm going to put Sydney FC first on the ladder. Despite like having really a strong team, Sydney FC are always a great team to watch. I think you guys can play another final spot in the game. Next up, we've got the Western Sydney Wanderers, of course, my team that I always support. The first go-to right here, but I don't know what's happening with the Wanderers. If I look up to my matchday vlogs and if I look up to the forms last season and compare it to it, there's nothing really much to say about it, but I can only say one thing. I just don't see Western Sydney Wanderers improving, and we don't have really enough signings, and we didn't really have a desirable play on how we showed it in the field. There's no lack of consistency. They didn't show the real themselves on the lack of skills they played. So I'm gonna pick Western Sydney Wanderers 5th in the ladder to finish it off. But I just pray for the boys to change it up, change the way they play. Like the last couple 2 seasons, couple of good signings in the making. We got Barton Cryer from Wellington Phoenix, and then he's going to make the difference. Marcus Antonsen, he really needs to step up in our game right now, because if he ended up playing the same style like last season, then that's real trouble for Wanderers. Next up, we've got Wellington Phoenix, the side of New Zealand. Now Wellington Phoenix had a phenomenal season, and I can think of that. I can only say one thing: Wellington Phoenix has been the top dogs in this game. They could have won the premiers, but it ended up Mariners were the minor premiers, winning the premiers play. I think Wellington Phoenix can play the same style what they did. Oscar Zawada leaving the club, which is really the one concerning part that Wellington wasn't really hoping for. And so I think Wellington Phoenix might end up finishing 4th on the ladder, and that's why I put them to finish it up there. Western United, they had a couple of good players. They got couple of young young signings, and I can think of Hiroshi Ibuzuki. I think he's providing something else. If you have a look at the game, he's having a real go in his A game comparing to his team with the Adelaide United, and I do want to see what he can provide. The next later on, they might go to a downfall like usual, like last season. So I'm picking Western United 12 to finish it off for the season. Brisbane Roar is my last prediction to be picking. Obviously 13 to be finishing it off. I don't feel like Brisbane Roar, don't see it happening. They're in too experienced to play finals, fashion forms. The lineups is a bit tricky for them to get used to on how like they play. Jay O'Shea only stepping up for him and his team, his players, to keep up the momentum. I don't really necessarily see Brisbane Roar being too inspired on like their form's gonna end up when the A-League season starts. So yes, that wraps up my A-League's prediction for 24-25 season. If you guys want to see your opinions, don't worry, these predictions are just my opinion, so don't try to get too personal on me. Share your thoughts on who's finishing and which teams will finish it off. This wraps it up my video. If you guys want more of this video, make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you're new to this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. And be ready for A-League just in 2 months away.